Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. In support of this mission, we do these free mentoring sessions pretty much every week, Thursdays usually. Thursday morning Pacific time. This is our 339th session. So, you can imagine this has been going on for a long, long time. This event is being recorded. You will have a recording available both on our blog as well as on the YouTube channel. If you're live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. And you can follow us on Twitter at 1M by 1M and at Shromana. We publish a lot of interesting, highly informative, educational, inspirational content. The YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, again, full of all kinds of interesting video content. And these are the call-in numbers. You can call in by using 650-479-3208, country code 1, access code 665-091-923. We want you to call in. We want you to participate in public chat. This is a roundtable, so your participation is most welcome. We're going to start with some entrepreneur pitches first. And before I do that, I want to set some expectations. Remember, this is a working session. We are here to work on your business together and provide you with whatever experience and insight we have based on what we know, what we have seen, what we have done. And we are on your side. So you can feel completely safe to come and discuss your issues here. You don't need to feel defensive about things. And, this is as I said, it's a working session. Now, if you disagree with my feedback, that's fine too. It's very possible that you will disagree, and that's okay. You just make your decisions about, it's your venture after all, you make your decisions. What you will get is a perspective, and you decide what to do with that. One thing I will say is that we see constantly, year after year, we see people who are obsessed with raising funding. Not all businesses can raise money. Not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. So this is something that you will need to keep in mind. And, that's kind of a non-negotiable fact. So don't contest that one. That's pretty much it. If you're not pitching today, please do participate. You will learn the most by engaging and participating and asking questions. So let's get going. We are going to go actually first to the second set of slides. Vinaya Kurpad. Vinaya, please unmute your line and tell us what you're working on.
Hi, Shamana. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Vinaya Kurpad, and how much time do I have?
About 15 minutes to finish, including conversation.
All right. So, I recently launched this website called coolgrad.com. It's a cool graduate, as in grad, as in graduate. So the website is already live. I launched it on August 2nd last year. So this is all about higher education. So what we're doing is essentially making it a video-based platform for people to share their higher education and study abroad experiences. So I personally drove around to every university. I drove all the way from California to the East Coast, stopping by every university along the way and interviewing students. So, we asked students, it was initially targeted for an Indian audience, but it can be used globally by anyone. So it's like, what was your profile, what was your undergraduate GPA, how many years work experience did you have, where all did you apply, and why did you pick this university, and how do you rate your experience after coming here? And then we asked them, which universities did you turn down and why? How did you get funding, scholarship at your university? What were your favorite courses? What were not so favorite courses? All these details. We made it a video-based platform. So there's
And
people all over the world.
Did you interview only Indian students, or did you interview students all across the board?
Pardon me, did you interview all across the board?
Did you interview only Indian students, or did you interview?
No, it's anyone from the world.
Okay, all right.
So basically, that was the first slide. What you saw, can you go back to that slide, please? So what you see here is like a screenshot of my landing page. So you see Cool Grad, and if you see the tabs, you know, the thumbnails that you see there, those are all videos that I recorded, providing higher education guidance free of cost. I myself pursued my master's in computer science and an MBA from the US, from top-notch universities, and we made a lot of mistakes, my friends and I, you know, regarding selection of universities, how to write a statement of purpose, how to write a resume, how to, you know, what is the difference between MS and MBA. In fact, after doing MS and MBA, I realized MIS would have been more useful for my skill set. So I didn't even know the difference even when I was doing it. So I recorded hundreds of videos and put them up there for free. They're all hosted on YouTube. So what you see on the homepage are these thumbnails. Then you see a tab called Top Universities. So there we provide a top university lists of various countries in a tabular format. I couldn't find a single website on the internet which provides lists in such detailed format. So it's all the different countries, which all universities are applying these courses, what is the annual tuition, what is the average undergraduate GPA, what is the average GRE or GMAT score, you know, and plus a links to the university department website. So we've made top university lists. And then when you see the student videos tab, it's where all the student videos are located. And we also have a platform for faculty members to upload their videos. So basically videos are very powerful medium in which to communicate your likes and dislikes. You know, a video is as powerful as like a million words. So it's actually going to be very popular already, my website. In about 4 months, I got about 75,000 views without doing any social media marketing. You know, so can we go to the next slide, please? So let's talk about Cool Grad. I mean, I've already talked a little bit. What is it about? It's a website that offers study abroad guide advice. It was mainly for like people in other countries who cannot come to the US beforehand to see the campus, to see the people over here. There are a lot of other websites where they see text-based information, like edulix.com. Those websites offer text-based advice, but mine's the only video-based platform. And so basically, it's a website where they can get a single view of all their application constituents. So if there's a student in India, for example, or even in Africa somewhere, so he can see all his applications in one dashboard. So he applied to MIT, applied to Stanford, applied to Harvard. What is the deadline on Harvard? What is the deadline at MIT? How much? What is the status of the application? They see all that in one snapshot, and they can share this snapshot with others and seek their advice. Things like that. So the next thing is, you know, anyone can record a video and upload it. Hundreds of free videos which I recorded, offering GRE GMAT coaching free of cost, and even CAT coaching. I think you know what CAT is, right? In India, Common Admission Test. It's the entrance exam for MBA. So I put up a.
How do you do coaching like this in one round video? Are you doing some sort of an equivalent of the you know, Khan Academy model? What is
exactly?
What is
I even reached out to Khan Academy, in fact. Yeah, I recorded a lot of videos. I'm in the videos, and it's like I recorded hundreds of videos talking about all possible mistakes that people could make. And I recorded a few GRE, GMAT, verbal, quants, all those videos. I still have some more to record. I spent the past 1 year working on this website, along with my regular job. So I launched it on August 2nd, and then it's whatever I could do on an individual basis I've done. My idea is to put up all this advice. You know, in India, there are all these career counseling agencies which charge a lot of money from students to offer them advice about studying abroad. So they tell them, you know, whether to apply to Arizona or Nevada or California, whatever, and they give them, they charge them a lot of money to offer them, you know, visa counseling advice and how to write a statement of purpose and, you know, how to fill out an application, things like that. They don't even give them 1% of the advice that I give them, and I'm putting the whole thing free of cost and essentially disrupting this entire industry. because I'm putting it
So how do
completely
you
free of
propose
cost.
to
So
make money? Is this a non-profit
from
that you're
advertisement.
doing, that you're out of your
No,
goodness of heart, or is it a business?
no, I want to make a lot of money. It's like how Facebook makes money. We make money from advertisements, and we also are going to sell analytics to universities. I have a slide that talks about monetization. I'm going to get to that shortly, okay? This is not all we do. We do something more too, so I'm just going to talk about that. So what I thought was we have a team of our individual surveyors, like cool grad surveyors, who go to various universities with a permit and film students, and even with the university's permission. And as an independent agency, the students get a platform to talk about their experiences without fear of retaliation from the university. A lot of students I collected about 400 videos now so far. And some of the students were very forthright in saying, I don't like this university, I don't want others to come here. And they're talking about bad things that were going on. So we also have a whistleblower page on our website where we can invoke our whistleblower rights, So students can talk about bad things that are going on without fear of retaliation. We provide a platform for that. So the other thing we do is, how can I guarantee?
Yeah.
Well, we take it in writing from them. We protect their anonymity, but we take it in writing from them. It's a student with a valid university ID. And we're doing this in collaboration with the university.
In the feedback that you put online.
Yeah, we don't reveal the name to anyone at any cost. But in case of like a lawsuit or something, we have proof to say the student did say this.
I see. Okay.
So we protect their anonymity while giving them a platform to say what's going on. And this is really useful information for future students, because future students want to know what's really going on at the universities. They don't want to know what the university advertises, because all universities advertise really great stuff. So what is really going on? That's what we're trying to provide. And the next thing we do is providing comparator analysis for analytics for universities. So, like for example, let's say Harvard University. They spend about more than 4 weeks to evaluate every application, go through the entire process, and make an offer of admission to a student. And if the student turns them down, they have really no clue as to why the student did that and where did the student go and why. The only details they have are, where all the students applied to. That's provided by educational testing services and, the agencies that conduct the GRE GMAT exams. They just have details about where all the students applied. They don't know why the students turned them down. Where did they go and what influenced that decision? So we're collecting details about all this, and we made the sample reports, and we've already been pitching it to universities like Stanford, Berkeley, and NYU. So, and even USC, in fact. So I think universities would be very interested to know why students are turning them down. Who are the competitors? How can they boost their program rankings? And after that, what we're doing is,
you're assuming that universities don't know what their positioning is and who their competitors are and so forth. You are grossly wrong with that assumption.
No, I'm not saying that they don't know, but I'm saying they don't know what the students are saying. When I did my MBA, nobody ever surveyed me and asked me what my experience was. They never asked me why I picked this university.
Nobody ever surveyed you doesn't mean that universities are not surveying.
No, nobody ever surveyed anyone in our university.
All right, keep going.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but no, they do have analytics about certain details, but we provide something like, okay, let me tell you what we're trying to do. We're coming up with a social ranking platform. The Fiction Review and other agencies, they come up with the top 100 rankings. They consider various factors like the infrastructure, the quality of research, and everything. We're coming up with a social ranking platform, which is entirely based on student satisfaction. Top 100 based on student satisfaction and their prospects and placement. It's entirely based on that. We're coming up with the top 100 rank. I was surprised to know that Princeton Review probably doesn't even attach to like 20% weightage to what the students are saying. I doubt if they attach any weightage at all to what the students are saying.
So I have 2 questions based on what you've presented here. Which school did you go to?
I did my MBA in the University of Arizona. I did my Master's of Computer Science in Michigan. Yeah.
So I will persist in telling you that your assumption that these universities are not getting information and not doing surveys is wrong. It's flat out wrong. So please don't operate with that assumption as your core assumption.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't get analytics at all. Yeah, okay, tell me. Yeah.
Why don't we go to how you make money?
All right, so I talked about the offering.
You've already exhausted most of the time that you had, so why don't you go to how you make money?
Okay, so the business justification, so monetization. First is from advertisements, Google Ads, and each of these videos. So I'm going to have probably like 100,000 videos on my website. And, students can search, future students. They can search by what the current students and, alumni are saying, and also about people who turned down an offer from that university program. They can see those videos too, so they can make better informed decision. And there's going to be like 100,000 videos. Each is going to be viewed by hundreds of thousands of people. So as of now, I have 400 videos or 500 videos, and watched by, I haven't yet publicized the website much. But the number of videos and the number of users are going to grow exponentially. So there is a lot of scope to make money from advertisements. The other one, can you go to the next slide?
Okay, Vinaya, I'm going to give you some feedback on this. These assumptions are highly unrealistic. 100,000 database, a database of 100,000 videos is going to take you a long time to get to. This is not a one-year effort. You've got how many videos?
Yeah, I just have to get people to do it in parallel. I contacted the Indian Students Association.
Listen, please listen. Don't talk over me. Going from 400 videos to 100,000 videos is not a, you just don't go exponentially to those kinds of numbers. So, how many, are you assuming that you're going to get organically, the community will be producing videos, right? User generated.
No, I'm going to pay people. I'm going to pay people to collect videos. Either I want a team of full grad surveyors, or I've been like in touch with the Indian Students Association of every university. So I find a student who goes around collecting videos, and then I pay them.
And so what does it cost you to generate 100,000 videos?
Let's say I pay $4 per video. That would be $400,000.
Okay, you're going to pay $400,000, and how many people are you assuming are going to be doing this for you?
Well, there's millions of students in America, and with the right motivation from all over. It's not just America. There's UK, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Germany.
That's not the
all
point.
These countries.
Answer my question. How many did you do? Have you done a model? Have you done a spreadsheet of how many students are producing this 100,000 videos for you, and how you plan to recruit these students? And what time? How much time does it take for you to do that?
Yes, I could do it in a few months. I have it in an Excel sheet.
So answer my question. How many students do you need to recruit to do this?
Well, I have contacts with the Indian Students Association of every university, so they would be done in parallel. If I'm doing top 100 universities, I would need 100 people to do it. At least 100.
I'm asking you a simple question. Can you answer it mathematically? How many students are we talking about?
There are multiple ways of doing it. In parallel, we could use 100 students. In parallel, I could use 100 students from 100 universities, or I could use a team that travels to a few universities, somewhere from 50 to 100.
So what is your assumption? What you could do this and you could do that. You could build a, lot of things. What are you planning to do? What are your assumptions based on which you're making these claims that you're going to have 100 million views? 100 million views is a huge number of video views. You don't just
there's 100,000 views
like that.
Each with 1,000 views. I've had students put up their videos, and within 1 week we got 200 views. From what I've seen so far.
I have huge skepticism about your numbers assumptions. So
yeah, they're kind of
optimistic.
Result,
and are you seeing the $7 CPM already? I assume you validated the $7 CPM, right?
Yeah. I mean, I enabled Google Ads only recently.
Vinaya, listen. You keep talking over me. Have you already seen revenues per these units?
Yeah, the money.
$7 CPM is what you're getting based on the advertising you're doing right now, yes or no?
Not yet. I haven't yet gone there, but the money started trickling in. We enabled Google Ads recently.
$7 CPM. Answer my question, yes or no. $7
we haven't yet got there, no.
Number or not?
Well, my social media marketing guy told me that's the average that a person makes in an industry by putting up videos like this on YouTube channels. This is the average they make from Google Ads. That's what I was told.
And what are you making?
I enabled Google Ads only recently, like a month ago. The money's just started trickling in. It's not yet gone to 7 CPM. So it hasn't yet gone there, so I can't answer that question. But it's picking up. I got total about 75,000 views in 4 months. And every day the number increases by about 200 without me doing anything. I haven't had money to spend on SEO or social media marketing. And without me doing anything, I was able to get 75,000 views in 4 months with an increasing
number. So you
are
uploading these videos onto YouTube. You're basically running a YouTube channel, and you're inserting video ads into the YouTube channel. You're basically monetizing a YouTube channel. So the whole business is about running a YouTube channel based on this content. No, it's not that. There's also a website.
No, there's also a website where we're doing online surveys too. And we're also doing online surveys and other kind of surveys. Can you go to the next slide, please? One of our main sources of revenue is selling detailed analytics to universities. I have a sample analytics report prepared. I can share it with you now. We prepared that to USC, and the University of Arizona was also very interested in my alma mater. So basically, it's like we are telling them what are the top concerns raised in your university. Who are you, why did people turn down USC, for example? Where did they go and why? And the universities so far have been very interested. Let's say we charge about $10,000 per department. That might be very optimistic. You can even cut that in half, $5,000 per department. So from every university we sell this, and it's going to be recurring on an annual basis, or maybe every semester. They need this information for every department. We've already been to a few universities, like Stanford, Berkeley, USC, University of Arizona, NYU, and they've shown a lot of interest. Arizona, in fact, told me that if I had a larger database, number of samples, they would be very interested. So I have the people ready. I just have recruit some surveyors to collect the videos, and I have to spend a lot of money in advertising and marketing. I just need investment. I'm open to two things. Either, I get investment and execute this myself, or I'm open to selling this idea to someone who can purchase it from me for one-time payment plus shares. I'm open to both. So,
Vinaya, do you have a job right now?
Yes. I'm a Salesforce program manager.
Doing this on the side with a job?
Yes.
Great.
I did this in about 1 year.
Very good. So my advice is keep your job, because you're going to need to bootstrap this to start showing validation and traction before anybody is going to give you any money. You are not ready to raise money. Forget $4 million. You're not even ready to raise $400,000 yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you can raise friends and family money. That's the only kind of money that you're ready to raise right now. But my advice would be to hold on to your job and start validating these assumptions that you're making. So if it's a question of, if you really believe that you can, get to these kinds of numbers, like $7 CPM, and you are expecting to be able to do 100,000 videos and, blah, 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 try to do it. Try to get unit economic validation. And, right now, everything is assumption, nothing is validation. And this is not the kind of things investors like to see. Investors want to see validation. And in your kind of business where you're talking about making money on numbers, you're trying to make money on reach from the advertising point of view, and you're trying to make money by offering large samples, analytics across large samples to universities. That is also a numbers game, right? You need to have critical mass of students at University of Arizona, critical mass of students at Stanford, critical mass of students at Berkeley, who are giving you data. So for this data to be sold at $5,000 per report kind of numbers, you need numbers. So there is no evidence that you can get to those numbers with a unit economics that works, that scales.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to test all that and validate and get to a point where you do understand the unit economics and you do understand the business scale and the scaling path. You cannot assume. See, part of the pushback you're getting from me here, and I'm trying to, calm you down and make it palatable. So you are assuming here that you're going to invest $400,000 out of the gate to pay these students who are going to go record videos for you. Now, the question that you need to ask is, where is that $400,000 going to come from? You will have to do this validation right now without external financing. So you are going to, the most plausible path for you forward right now is you hold on to your job and you bootstrap this to a certain level of validation and hopefully some level of traction. So the question is, how are you going to validate? You're not going to be able to pay $400,000 out of your own pocket, I'm assuming. If you can, then maybe that's a different story. But if you cannot, then you need to understand how much can you pay and how many students can you get to develop these videos, to go record these videos, and which universities are you going to go after. You kind of have to, if your second assumption needs to hold, then you have to kind of go university by university and get critical mass of data for universities. So let's say, if you're working on University of Arizona, you need to do both for University of Arizona. You need to get a lot of feedback, videos recorded for University of Arizona, and you need to get a critical mass of students at University of Arizona who are providing feedback and data and so forth, such that you have a complete package for University of Arizona, which you can then monetize through advertising, video advertising, and through the kind of survey analytics that you are offering to your universities. So you have to go university by university, you have to build critical mass per university. And what I would like you to really understand, you're a computer scientist, you have an MBA, so I'm sure you're very astute mathematically. So now you need to turn this into a mathematical model and understand deeply what are the costs involved in producing these videos, how much do you have to pay these students to incentivize them, how long do they take to do what you're asking them to do, how long does it take to get to critical mass in terms of engagement within the university community such that you can gather enough data to turn that into a $5,000 sale. So this is your business. And until you understand this, all these other numbers that you're making forecasts on, like this, you're saying highly doable in 1 year with 100 million views and all that, this is just basically wishful thinking. Until this becomes, what do we do in startups? We have dreams, we have visions, we have ideas, and then we have to translate that set of ideas, that set of assumptions, that set of dreams into execution. And this vision, this dream that you have of doing 100 billion views and translate that into $700,000 has a core assumption built in here that you can put in $400,000 in paying these students $400,000 that you don't have. So now you have to figure out how to do this without the $400,000 and figure out what does it take to do some of this, not all of it, some of it, so that in a cost-effective way so that you can validate your model and you can show mathematically to an investor who may give you $400,000 to do this, what are the economics of doing this at a validated level, not at a wishful thinking level, at a validated level. So that, I believe, is your next
Well, I have other team members who are much more experienced. Maybe they can pitch it better. Can you just scroll down a little bit? Can you go to the next slide? Next one. So I have David and Ken, the people you see in the pictures. These are people. David was the CEO of Embark earlier. Maybe he could have pitched it in much better than I can. These are people who have built companies from $0 to $100 million. David Moshe and Ken Marisol. So they're my mentors. We work for the same company currently, and they've been kind of encouraging me in this by the side. So maybe they could have made a better presentation. They know what they're doing.
But it's not a question of encouraging. I'm not discouraging you. I'm giving you reality. This is how businesses are built. And you know, you can take my feedback and throw it in the, hold on, Vinaya, hold on. You can take my feedback and throw it in the trash can and do whatever you want to do. My job is to give you feedback based on our experience of building businesses.
I value your feedback. I value your feedback, but I'm just trying to see if somebody else can make a better pitch. I'm kind of naive.
No, there's no question of a better pitch. I assume you're giving me facts. You're not hiding facts, or you're not just,
no,
you know.
Of course not.
So if you're giving me facts,
the site is up and running.
Presented, this is where you are right now. This company right now, as it stands, is not fundable, and you're going to need to figure out a bootstrapping strategy. I'm just giving you a bootstrapping strategy that is going to get you to fundability. And this is what we do with company after company after company. And this is how businesses are built. I'm telling you, this is how businesses are built.
So how about I sell the idea to someone, and do you know anyone who might like to buy it? Do you know anyone who would like to buy my idea?
Nobody buys ideas.
I mean, they can buy the website and implement it and give me some shares.
Nobody is interested in buying ideas. Nobody is interested in giving you shares for your ideas. You either build your idea or you let it die in the vine. That's how that's the life cycle of ideas.
Well, I got an offer from a guy who offered to pay me $100,000 to purchase this website. Plus, he's going to give me 20% shares. Do you think I should sell it?
And then take it.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, there's this guy in New York who's an investor, he invests in companies, and he made me an offer, so I'm seriously thinking about it.
Yeah, if you've got an offer and if you want to sell it for $100,000, take it, sell.
Yeah, I still get back 4 times what I invested, so.
Well.
But do you like the idea?
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to go to Anita next. Let me go to your slides. Anita, are you on the call?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, that was quite informative. Thank you. I was so delighted to find this forum, so thank you for offering this. I think it's an incredible service that you're providing and an amazing mission. And I am in New York right now, where it's literally blizzard conditions, looking out my window, and it's completely light out over here, as well as when I spoke with Maureen this morning, she said, yep, I'm in New Jersey, so we're on the same page. So wherever you are, I hope you're warm and happy as you're listening to this. And so thank you, Samana, very much for having this forum. So what I've been creating is definitely a social impact venture. As you can probably just gather from the title, I'm very passionate about this. I think there's a huge need, and I'd like to go into the context and set up, where is this coming from? What problem are we addressing? So if you can go to the next slide. So the Sex and Medicine Summit is looking from this lens that sex directly affects our health and our well-being. Yet, so few medical and wellness professionals right now feel comfortable and safe broaching the topic with their loved ones, much less their patients or colleagues. Now, why I even said loved ones is because the way that people relate to their own bodies, their own sexuality, as someone of influence, especially someone who has jurisdiction over other people's bodies and health, how they relate to their own body is that directly impacts how they then treat their patients and or their students, clients, or colleagues. I saw this in working in a large medical institution here in New York and also in many other clinical settings that there was a huge gap in the awareness and education. So if you go on to the next slide, you'll see that these are just two very, very, simple statistics, but they say a lot. For those in healthcare, especially for those who are gynecologists, urologists, who you would think would have extensive training in human sexuality, it turns out that the vast majority receive as little as 3 to 6 hours of training out of 8 years of medical school. And at the same time, we see statistically that 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 5 boys experiences some form of sexual trauma in their lifetime. So we are facing an epidemic not just in the U.S., but in many countries, where there's this epidemic of sexual trauma and abuse and a lack of education. And of course, this could be addressed from many different angles. I'm addressing it from the angle of healthcare and medicine. So if we go on to the next slide, so how are we addressing this? The Summit series, which it turned into a series based on the feedback we got from the first launch. We strive to bring world-class, empowering, and holistic sex education to those in healthcare and the general public. That's our mission right now. These statistics are very preliminary and only from my mailing list platform, so they aren't across all platforms, but it gives you a snapshot of, at least in terms of the list, which is highly active, who's engaging. Predominantly, the age group is between 35 and 54-year-old people. After that, those 55 and above, and then down to 14% for ages 25 to 34, and the lowest engagement is 18 to 24. There are a lot of ways that you could interpret this data, but it just gives you an idea of who's, in terms of age, who's engaging with our content. For the next slide, it shows the gender breakdown. Again, this is not comprehensive data across all of our platforms. It's only looking at the mailing list, which is about 5,000 right now. So it is predominantly women who are engaging with the content and attending our events. 32% is unknown. So, of course, that leaves a lot to be further investigated and researched. I'm going to, doing this presentation made me realize that my weakness is in not knowing the numbers and the details clearly enough. I'd love to find out advanced statistics on segmentation by profession. That, of course, just because I'm trying to reach those in healthcare primarily, I really need to know that information, so that it just brought that to my attention. Then buying behavior, I'm able, to do that too. So right now, so we launched in 2015 with a virtual and a live summit. People found us through, if you go to look at the second bullet, affiliate and strategic partnerships have been our primary way of getting the word out. That was quite effective the first year, going from a list of probably about 800 people up to 2,600. And those are not just numbers on a sheet. Those are people who are in active conversation, who are engaged in this material, who are very passionate fans, and who are people in positions of influence in their industry, primarily healthcare. So list building activities, we do a lot of courses, videos, social media content marketing. We just became partnered with a new sort of syndicated online TV show that has a viewership of about 700,000. So we're starting to see more traction now. If you go on to the next slide, this is just one example of the quality of the feedback that we're getting. Take a moment just to browse. So yes, there are many quantitative measures, but the qualitative feedback I've been getting has been consistently very, very positive. Here's a few of the numbers. For our first launch, we had 90 attendees. It was in the middle of winter. It was bitterly cold, but we had 100 people in the room, which was amazing. 10,000 audience members for our virtual summit in March, which we did monetize, and then 75 attendees for the one in October, which was more recent. As I mentioned, we have a new partnership with a social media company, and our first launch got quite a bit of media attention. We were brought on with Dr. Darcy Silva, Health First in New Jersey, and Maureen, if you're listening, you probably know that show, with over 4 million viewers. Then I can go into a little bit of the numbers for the next slide, which is nearly 20,000 in sales in the first quarter. That included the monetizing the virtual summit. We sold it for a $67 price point, and then it ran up to $97. We did a course following that launch, and then I also brought on a number of private clients, consulting clients as a result. I did some friend and family fundraising. It wasn't huge, but, you know, it got me started, and I've been definitely on the bootstrapping trajectory.
Good.
And then I would say, you know, one thing I can say is I am a community person, and I've gotten so much in-kind services and product donations all across the board. I estimate the value at $30,000. That might be, you know, way too low, because the value of what I've received from the community has been, it's what's kept me going, and when it's been really hard to make ends meet and make this really work.
Okay.
So that's, you know, I think it's worth mentioning.
Anita, can you please break down a bit more where what is this 20,000 in sales in the first quarter during launch? What does that mean? So these 90 attendees at live launch, how much did they pay to attend?
Well, the main sales came from the virtual summit. When we sold, basically it's about, 23.
Hold on, the 90 people attended for free, the live launch?
No, they paid, but it wasn't, you know, the ticket price was, I think, under 50, so it wasn't anything, so yeah, that wasn't necessarily hugely profitable. What was
and
more
what's the
profitable
business
was
model of these 10,000 plus audience members for virtual summit?
Well, the price point for the virtual info products, which are basically the interview series that people can purchase as a library with different topics, a whole different range of topics, those that's where we had the most. That's where most of the 20,000 came from. Was from sale of the video and audio library of the summit. We broadcast it for free for 1 week, and then we sold the whole library.
I see. So this live launch, you recorded the live launch, put the whole thing online, and had it for free for a week, and then you started asking people to pay to access that library. Is that what we're talking about?
Very close. What we did is I also conducted 22 interviews with different healthcare professionals, like therapists, neurologists, you know, psychiatrists, to talk about different aspects of sex and health. And we recorded all of those, put those online, and people could purchase those interviews as a bundle, as a package. So it wasn't exactly, we did record the live launch as well, but basically I'm just amassing, all of this content is being recorded. It's all basically, you know, just a matter of how we're repurposing it and productizing it. Yeah.
My next question is, of the 10,000 plus audience members, how many actually paid?
Our conversion rate was about 3%, which for a telesummit is actually average. Looking at the statistics of others that have
3% conversion rate is phenomenal, actually.
It is?
The high end of premium conversion is 4% is like the off the charts high end. So you're close to the high end. I mean, you don't need to apologize for that at all. That's great.
Oh my gosh, I was embarrassed. Well, I compare that to my colleague who's a doctor. He did a gluten summit, and he had a 12% conversion rate. I mean, 12%. He made $4 million. He had a gigantic list. He also had a lot of, you know, he invested a lot of capital. I think he had, for a summit, at least his model was investing $200,000, and then he made $4 million. So I guess the bar was really high.
No, 3% is very good conversion. But now tell me, why is it just $20,000 in sales, or is this sales continuing? Do you're talking about first quarter of 2015. We are now in first quarter of 2017. Have you continued to generate sales based on that material?
So I got, this is where I'm stuck. It took a lot to create the platform, and it was very expensive, and I would do it completely differently now if I did a virtual summit again. But I decided, because it's so pricey to do the online, that I'm breaking it up into series and then slowly building out the platform in a much more expansive way that will bring a lot more traffic, and doing it in parts as opposed to trying to squish it into 1 week of broadcast and create this time-bound launch, it was really, it was pretty insane making. So my idea now, because we had made that initial launch landing page into an evergreen site, but the sales did not continue because really I think the funnel, there's something not quite working, and the content itself, or the whole back end, the way it's structured, it needs to be redone. So I'm still in the process of figuring out, okay, what's the optimal way to get this to a much larger group of people without a gigantic price tag. So that's my challenge. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it. So essentially, you've figured out a style of content, a context for what you want to do. You've done a little bit of validation. You've got some customers. You've got about 300 some paying customers who have paid to access your content, and now you're trying to figure out what is your business model, how do you leverage this, and how do you really build a business out of it. That's where you are. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, a sustainable, replicable business model.
Okay, got it. And the method that you described in the first virtual summit that you did of these 22 interviews, how difficult is that? I mean, if these 22 interviews generated $20,000 in sale during the first quarter based on your virtual launch, how difficult is it to get 22 interviews or 20 interviews, packets of 20 interviews? Is that difficult?
That's not difficult at all. That's not the hard part. And people love being interviewed. I'm very good at meeting the right people, and they're always willing to do it. It's the platform. It's monetizing the interview. That's the hardest part.
But have you tried to do that again? Have you tried to replicate that model again?
I'm working on it, but not in the same way. I mean, I've done a few more interviews. I'm recording all of our live events, and they're professionally filmed and edited. So there is, I think the price tag for those can be somewhat similar to the first summit, like around between 60 and 90 or 100. It's really it's just building out the back end. And it's more complex than just putting a video on a landing page. I was amazed how expensive it all became. The designer, the webmaster, all these plugins that cost X number of dollars per month. That's where I got really bogged down, and it could have been more profitable. I think if it had been done more efficiently, I had the right team. So I feel like, okay, I don't think I can do this myself. I'm not a webmaster. I'm not a designer. I don't know all these sophisticated SEO things. But the people that are really good at that, the digital marketers and the webmasters and so forth, they charge a lot. It's a significant amount of money.
These are things that you need to learn how to optimize. There are very well understood, at least in our program, we have very well understood ways of optimizing all this, and there are strategies of how to do these very inexpensively and so forth. So what I'm encouraged by is that you had a reasonable validation of being able to do a virtual summit, generate 10,000, or an audience of 10,000 and monetize 3% of that audience. And I think my recommendation to you would be to figure out how to replicate that on a regular basis. And that would be the first revenue monetization, because that's the one that is validated. Our strategy always is to validate something and then replicate that, and then all these other ancillary challenges that you're talking about, we can solve those problems, I'm pretty sure. So if you choose to use 1M as your accelerator, we will be working on those with you and helping you sort those out. Okay?
Yeah, I would love to find ways to make this more simple, less pricey, to create a really good funnel. It's just this, I think the content is strong. We get amazing feedback and engagement, but it's just a matter of making it structurally sound.
Yeah, okay, got it. So this is solvable. The problem you're dealing with is solvable. At least that will get you to, a decent revenue stream for sure, I think, based on the kinds of conversion numbers you have experienced already. If those numbers stand, and we need to look at what is getting you to those numbers, I think those are, quite doable. So anyway, hang on for a second. I'm going to take people through a few things in the next segment, and then let's if you have more questions after that, you can we can continue the conversation.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Maureen, it seems like there is one other person in the room, Mahmoud Makan, who's trying to see if he can present. I don't know if you have already privately closed the loop with him. I'll let you do that in the meantime. Folks, we're going to go to some videos next, and these cover a few topics that I would like you to be aware of, and you may have seen these videos already, in social media or on our YouTube channel and so forth. So Maureen, I do not have a way of playing these videos. On my screen, it looks basically dark. So do you want to, or do you have access to being able to play the video? I think you are the presenter right now. I do see, but I don't have a way of playing this, though. I don't have the controls to be able to play. There you go. folks, we just went through the Ownership Matters video. And by the way, for your reference, the video is on our YouTube channel as well. If you need to look at it multiple times, and you may need to look at it multiple times, you can access it there. What it does is basically takes you through the whole early stage financing process of Facebook, and what kind of equity rounds were involved, and how much money was going in for what kind of percentage ownership and so forth. And the reason we did this video is because we're seeing a lot of companies, a lot of early stage startups doing terrible deals with their investors, and then they come to us. By the time they come to us, they've already really botched up the cap table. And it's very hard to raise money follow on if you botch up the cap table out of the gate. If you give up, like, let's say 20, 30, 40% of your company for very little money, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, it becomes very, very difficult to raise future financing. So we want you to be aware of this problem in the early stage financing market. And especially if you're raising money from people who really don't know what they're doing. These are basically, we call it dumb money. There's a lot of dumb money out there. If you get involved with dumb money and botch up your cap table, it becomes very difficult to rectify that problem later on in the game. So please be aware that you really need to, do things right. Structure it right up front. The next video we are going to deal with is probability of fundraising. Maureen, if you could start up the video, that would be great. All right, folks, the point of this one is to counter some of the misconceptions in the industry of entrepreneurship equals financing. You saw in my conversation with Vinaya where I was pushing back on her assumption that out of the gate she can raise $4 million. She is starting a business with an assumption that is a false assumption. This is not going to turn into reality by any stretch of imagination. So therefore, there is going to be a need for a strategy of how to turn her dream into reality, and that dream requires a certain bootstrapping window. The probability of fundraising is very low, as you saw in the video just now. Now, how do you play this game, this very low probability game, and win? You need a strategy of playing this game and winning, and we have been doing this for a long time. We've figured out the strategies that work, and we are advising you on that. You know, you can listen to that or you cannot listen to that, and whatever, that's your choice. But the fact of the matter is, you cannot assume that you're going to get a big chunk of funding out of the gate. That's just not how the business works. So we're going to do one more video, and then we're going to go to the next segment where I will explain to you 1M, and then we're going to go to Q&A. So that's the rest of the session today. So Maureen, if you could do the debt by overfunding video, that would be great. All right, folks, you've got the points on overfunding. So entrepreneurship success does not equal financing. You can fail spectacularly even after raising huge amounts of funding, as you saw in the story of Nasty Gal. So let's actually, I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of Q&A now that you've got this material just now. You listened to a couple of pictures. You just looked at a few videos. Why don't we do a bit of Q&A? Would any of you like to ask questions before we go to the next segment? What thoughts are being triggered in your head as you're going through this session with us?
Hi, Ramona. It's Anita again. Just having
Yes,
seen
Anita.
that video, why do you think it failed? What was it that she wasn't able to keep up with production? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you know, the expectation when you invite venture capital investors into your project, the expectation is that you're going to grow really fast, and we're talking super fast. The expectation of a VC is to go from 0 to 100 million in 5 years. That's what their whole model is based on. The whole venture capital model is based on this assumption. So if you're not growing hyper fast, they're kind of not interested in you. And I think what happened in the case of Nasty Gal is, you know, when Sophia went from 0 to $23 million in a bootstrap mode, she took her time to do that. And she, you know, she did it organically. She did it kind of, you know, scrappy way. And then all this funding came in, and then she had all this pressure to grow really fast. They were opening brick and mortar stores, they were doing private label, and they just couldn't handle all those moving parts at such pace. And it was an execution failure. It was both a strategy failure and an execution failure, because you know, these are not things that the company had any experience in. They had the experience of being able to find a niche audience and being able to cater very organically and very precisely to that niche audience. And my assessment is that this business was not structured to scale to the kinds of numbers it was being forced to scale to. So I think this would have been a very nice, profitable $50 million, $75 million business with no outside funding if Sophia just stayed with what she was doing, and she could have carried on for many, many, many years and would have been immensely wealthy. But instead, this whole thing blew up, basically, by trying to grow too fast and scale to too big a level. You know, this was not going to be $1 billion company, but it was being artificially forced to try to become a $1 billion company. That's why. Hypergrowth is not a natural state, Anita. You have to understand that hypergrowth is an extremely unusual condition.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions, comments, perspectives based on what you're hearing here, or what your experience is in that context? Please do not send me private messages right now. We're in a public chat. Sanjay, I'm going to read out your question. 1 second, Anita. I have a private question from Sanjay Patni. This is Sanjay from Oracle working on ACID. For looking into pricing for the product, I looked into CA, Computer Associates. They have community and enterprise licenses. Is it okay to provide them my contact information to know their pricing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Anita, you have a comment or question?
Okay. So one other question is bubbling up as a result. I mean, is there any scenario where rapid growth, like exponential growth, is healthy and sustainable? And if so, what is that?
Absolutely. If you look at companies like Facebook and Google and many others, Salesforce.com and many, many others, there are companies that have grown at an exponential pace. And in that case, venture capital is a very, very good tool to scale that growth. When you know that if I put in $1 million, somebody is streaming audio into the call, so you need to put your computer line on mute and keep the audio line open if you've dialed in. All right, so Anita, going back to your question, if you have figured out, and this is why we emphasize so much on unit economics, if you can validate your unit economics and you can present a case that if I put in $1 million doing this, like these 5 things I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to acquire customers, this is how I'm going to, convert customers, this is my conversion ratio, etc. And if I put in $1 million, I'm going to get $10 million on the other side in 6 months or in 12 months. That is a scenario, if you have that equation figured out, that is a scenario when it's completely okay to raise venture capital. Now, there are also other factors like total available market and so forth that you need to factor into that equation. If there is enough, depending on that, you should adjust your market in your fundraising strategy. So it's a very complex equation that you have to balance carefully. But there is absolutely, to net it out, there is absolutely situations where you can and should raise venture capital.
Okay, interesting.
Is there somebody else on the phone who wants to ask a question or start a discussion on something?
How are you? My name is Khurram Shakir, and wanted to ask a question related to too much funding, or how do you know after a significant amount of angel rounds? So my company, Car Square, sort of like the Trivago or Kayak for car buyers, we raised a little over $3 million in angel funding. And
how much? 6 million?
3 million.
3 million, okay, yeah.
Yep. And we are now to a point where we have great metrics. We've lowered our costs to drive traffic to the platform. We've significantly lowered our cost to convert and are now seeing roughly about 70 to 75% conversion rates to our partners. So think of Trivago, someone searching for a car. They come to our platform, they see a bunch of car sites all in one view. And when someone clicks on any one of our partners, like Google, we'll click them over to the partner site to get additional information and the opportunity to purchase the car. So we're converting 75% on the high end of traffic to our partners, and our cost per acquisition has been significantly lowered, tremendously. But we're now having because we put so much money into building the platform, we haven't done a whole lot of marketing, and now we're trying to raise the next round to get to the marketing stage where we can just become that household name. But we're having problems getting in front of the right venture capitalist or the right person or the team to raise that next round. Do you have any advice on how I can go ahead and do that?
Well, getting you in front of venture capitalists is not a problem at all for us. We do that all the time. But I need to really look at your pitch to see I need to look at your pitch, your cap table, and your business to understand whether this is a fundable business or not. So if you're interested in working with us on that, please join the program, and I will be happy to do that.
Okay.
I can't answer this question in vacuum without the metrics, without actually reviewing your metrics in a lot of detail. But I'll be happy to do that if you decide to work with the program. That's what we do. This is part of what we do on a regular basis.
Okay, understood.
There's another question in public chat. Matthew Tuck is asking, how do you get to an MVP if you have no cash and can't raise from friends and family? Matthew, are you a developer yourself, or are you a business founder who needs to get somebody else to develop your MVP? No, you're a lawyer, not a dumb lawyer. You're a lawyer, no coding. So, one of the ways people, mitigate or bridge this gap is by hiring overseas developers who would do it for very cheap. I assume, since you're a lawyer, you have some savings and some money of your own. So you're going to have to finance your MVP on your own. And bootstrapping with a paycheck works usually in a situation like yours. And if you need further coaching on that, we would be happy to help you further on figuring these things out. It's not that straightforward. Okay, well, then join the program and happy to coach you. So let's actually go through a little bit of the how to use the program, since several of you are in need of further assistance. And by the way, folks, if you like what we're doing in 1M, please spread the word. That's the one thing that we request of you is we want to work with serious entrepreneurs, not people. Actually, I have to say, I am not so interested in working with people who have an idea and who want to sell that idea. That's not who we work with. We work with people who want to build a business, and that's really our sweet spot. If you build a business to a certain degree and then you want to sell, you want to get a reasonable exit, that's fine, and we will be happy to help you navigate that exit path as well, and we have a huge Rolodex, so making connections to get that kind of exit is completely within the purview of our program. But if you just have an idea, you think it around for a little bit, and then you want to sell for little money, this is not really our sweet spot. So, in terms of resources, you'll find everything at 1mby1m.com. You'll find a great blog, and that's free. So just following the blog will give you a lot of perspective on early-stage technology entrepreneurship, as well as industry trends. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series, there are 12 volumes of those. You'll find them on Amazon. These books are case study-based books that double-click down on specific points. And these days, I seem to be recommending bootstrapping with a paycheck as a strategy to a lot of people. So we do have a book on that topic with case studies of how people have done it. So if that's something that you are considering and you're in the market for, by all means, take a look at that book. Every Thursday, we do these roundtables. This is the 339th session. We've had thousands, tens of thousands of people who have been coming to these sessions over the years and have been using these sessions. So come back, keep using these sessions as a learning material, keep using the recordings to learn as well. If you want direct coaching, hands-on project-based coaching, where I will work with your particular situation, you need to come to the premium program, and that's a $1,000 annual membership fee. We give you extensive methodology guidance. We have a full curriculum, which is based on 750 plus successful entrepreneurs and their perspectives, their case studies, their journeys, and their insights and advice to you, as well as personalized coaching in private roundtables. We help you with business development. Our Rolodex is available for your use, and we also help you intensely with strategy consulting. Financing, if you are fundable, we have the Rolodex on financing. So getting you in front of investors is not a problem. We can do that. But the real problem there is, are you fundable or not? And we need to, work with you to get you to a level of fundability if your business has the characteristics of fundability, and then get you in front of investors. Otherwise, if I introduce you to 35 investors in an afternoon, that will yield nothing unless you have a fundable situation that you can present to these investors. So we assess first, we coach you, and then if you get to the point where you can be funded, then we introduce you to investors. Media relations, we have a lot of clout in the media. We cater to a huge community, and we have huge influence in the media. So getting the word out for whatever it is that you're doing through our community is something that is part of your premium membership, and we encourage you to take advantage of that because it's hugely productive. Go to the 1M1M website and take a look at the 1M1M self-assessment. These are the questions investors are going to ask you, but I want you to ask these questions of yourselves. You are the first and the most important investor in your business. You need to know answers to these questions and how to answer them. Now, in trying to answer these questions, if you find yourselves getting stuck, you can do methodology training on your own. 1M1M Basic is a curriculum-only program, $99 a month. You can go through intense methodology training just by going there and signing up for 1M1M Basic. Go to the website, sign up for 1M1M Basic. If you put in 50, 100 hours of intense study just using that program, in 1 month you will have closed a lot of your methodology gaps. And then if you decide you need further coaching and further help, join the premium program, or go straight to the premium program where you have both curriculum and coaching in tandem. In any case, whatever part of the program that you choose to go for, premium, basic, it's up to you. Really, we have no problem either way. Just go dig around on the website. There's plenty of information about what to expect from the premium program, what to expect from the basic, video FAQs, etc. Figure it out, what is the right engagement model for you and what is the right learning model for you. And then, if you decide to join the program, we will be available to work with you as much as possible. This program is case study based. We talk to hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs constantly to bring you insights of what they have been able to do and how they have been able to be successful. And this is what has built tremendous repository of knowledge here that we are able to quickly point you to based on your situation and your project. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. The mantra is bootstrap first, raise money later, because that's the only thing that predictably works, that actually helps you raise your probability of fundraising. And as I said, our media cloud is quite significant, and we can give you access to that as part of the premium program. Upcoming free roundtables pretty much every week going forward. So whenever you want, book a slot to come and pitch and come work with me, and we will be delighted to help you further. Okay, back to Q&A. Anybody questions, comments in public chat? If you want to call in, either way is fine. Back to Q&A. Back to you. And while you're lining up your questions, let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson, irina@1m-by-1m.com. If you have questions about basic or premium program in general, go for, ask questions of Irina, and she will be very happy to walk you through whatever issues you have, questions you have. Amit Bhagat is asking the idea, which I will be pitching in. How will we make sure that it may not be stolen? The idea is in raw stage, and I would need your guidance to nurture it. Are you a bit, okay, so Amit, we don't value much ideas that can be very easily stolen, because eventually you're going to need to be in the market, and if your idea doesn't have enough built-in defensibility, then it will be stolen, it will be replicated, and so forth. So we are not big believers in worries about stolen ideas. So the answer to your question is we are very happy to guide you on how to nurture your idea, but if your idea is easily stealable, we would probably encourage you not to move forward with it. Come and pitch the idea. I'll be happy to give you further guidance, and we'll take it from there. David Kamwana says, are you available on weekends for those of us that have full-time jobs? No, I'm not available. All sessions happen during the week. Usually, the public roundtables are on Thursday mornings. The private roundtables mostly are on Wednesday mornings. Once a month, we have a Monday evening session. So if you have full-time jobs, you can do the Monday evening session. And everything, by the way, is available on recording. The whole curriculum you can do at your own time. You can do nights and weekends and do your own studying at your own time. In terms of roundtables, once a month, we have evening roundtables. And by the way, if you are engaging with the program, if you're in the premium program, and if you are having difficulty finding a slot, usually you can get that once a month slot, and if necessary, we will, layer in other slots to factor in people's, needs. Weekends, we don't do any roundtables. Everything has to be during the week. Evenings, yes. Weekends, no. Anybody else?
One quick question about the program. In the advisory process, how much would you say attention to the virtual space, like digital marketing, is there, or
everything is virtual. We only work with IT and IT-enabled services businesses. So almost our entire practice is in the domain of digital businesses.
Okay,
so everything to do with digital, both digital delivery models as well as digital customer acquisition strategies. We do very little in physical.
Okay, great.
Like if you're trying to build a solar farm, or if you're trying to build a biotechnology product, that's not what 1 million by 1 million does. We only work with digital startups.
I see. Interesting.
David Kamwana, did I answer your question? Do you have any other questions? We do have a lot of companies who work in this bootstrapping with a paycheck model. So we are probably the only accelerator in the world that will support you if you are not willing to quit your job and do this bootstrapping with a paycheck model. We, on the other hand, are big believers in this model because bills need to be paid. You kind of have to be able to mitigate your risks and be able to get to validation while holding on to your job. So we are huge fans of keeping your job and building your business on the side up to at least a point where you get to more secure, more validated point where you think you can then start monetizing adequately. We've had companies. We have one case study in the program where the company went all the way to break even and $1 million in revenues within the program while holding on to their jobs. So it can be done, it has been done, and we know how to do this. So it really depends on your situation, and we'll advise you according to your situation, but we really do believe in bootstrapping with a paycheck. Anybody else? Questions, comments? We have a couple of minutes left of the session. No? No more questions? All right, folks. In that case, we will meet you back here next week and then week after week. So book your slot. By the way, if you want a slot to pitch, you need to register to pitch. Otherwise, register to attend, and we will see you back here and continue working with you on your businesses. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.